ninth round pick out of the Citadel in 1981, Stump carved out a successful NFL career with the Cardinals.
He's strong. He can move. He was agile. He can make guys miss. He had it all. He had everything in the game.
In Cardinals franchise history, only Larry Fitzgerald has more all-purpose yards.
He did it all, man.
Hello, everyone. Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. Stump Talk Podcast, Running Back University, episode number 24. Our episode and our show is now sponsored by Recruit Runner. Run your recruitment. All high school, middle school athletes, you want to get looked at by college coaches, get your profile up, get direct contact with college coaches. Go to recruitrunner.com, RECRUIT, runner, RUNNER.com, and go get recruited. Hello, SSRR. We got Stump, Sapphire, Russ and Rowe. How's everybody doing?
Everyone's
Wonderful.
good.
Absolutely. It's great to see you, gentlemen.
Great to see
Same
you.
here.
Good to see everyone. I was thinking about what I was going to say today, but off the top of my head, our melanated skin. You know, I'm about to go on a rant about how beautiful and handsome we are. I watch a lot of other podcasts, and we don't have a makeup crew. I sprayed on cologne just to get on our show tonight because I'm finicky like that. But we look good, and so we have a striking advantage as well as our sports intellect, and of course we got the veteran, the great coach Stump Mitchell with his insight. So we have a distinct advantage if you want some substance and quality in sports reporting, specifically with the Browns. I also want to open up our show and talk about our boxing champion, Drake Donovan out of T County. Dre, we behind you. We support you. We love you. The TCBA gym with Randy. Also, the Tuscaroras Browns backers, Rich and Jason. They've been out here, out working, and they will be the number one Browns backer in the world. It won't be long. They're walking it down. So I want to say hello to our headquarters, Shenanigans, and appreciate all the support that got us here today. Obviously, we have the draft, you guys. Coach, well, let me go back, Coach. I want to first of all welcome Coach Stump and give him a round of applause for his tenure at the Citadel. Woo! His alma mater. We're going to promote and talk about the Citadel program when we do our podcast because we're with Coach Stump and wishing them success and his tutelage, Coach. So, how's things been at the Citadel? Well, how you feeling about your surroundings at your all-time leading rusher at the Citadel, going back to your alma mater?
I'm feeling good about it. Coach Maurice Drayton is the head coach here. He also played here. He coached in the league at a few different NFL teams, and he had the opportunity to come back to his alma mater, and he's from Charleston. So it's just a great right now. Guys are busting their butt in the weight room, and we're excited for the season.
We have obviously the elephant in the room, the NFL draft, April 23rd to the 25th. This Thursday, we got our guy Mel Kiper and Andrew Berry mixed in one. His name is Russell Johnson. He's our insider, so we're looking forward to hearing from him. But Coach, I want to go back to you to open up our show. The Browns have the number 6 and number 24 pick in the first round. What are your initial thoughts on that?
Well, they've, of course, tried to upgrade the offensive line through free agency. But again, offensive line is a need for them, and also wide receiver. They can also use a DB because the last couple of years, those guys have gone down.
Sapphire, what are your thoughts on the number 6 and number 24 pick for the Browns?
I mean, yeah, I would agree with Coach Stump in terms of the needs that the team has. Me personally, as a fan, I'd actually like to see them double dip on the offensive side with the tackles, in addition to what they did during the off season.
Our guy, Andrew Kuiper. We're going to Russ. You
I
have the
like
floor right
that.
now. You're probably our go-to for the draft and personnel. What do you think about what's going to happen in the first round for the Browns on Thursday?
We can go with what we think might happen and what I would like to happen. Me personally, I would like to go wide receiver Carnell Tate at 6. 24, always best player available. I'm not that high on the tackles per se in this class, but we do need one, and I think there's value later in the draft, second, third round with the offensive lineman. I think you got just enough now in free agency that you can kind of you can build in the draft. You can take a guy here and there, depending on the value. We know the draft board is flexible, it's fluid, so the 24 might get traded. They might trade up, might trade down. I see more value probably trade down a little bit with the 24 pick. Definitely if you get Carnell Tate at 6.
Uh, Back to you, Coach. I want to talk to you about the new coach. How much input do you think they'll give him on the draft picks in this upcoming draft for the Browns?
I really don't know the answer to that question. I don't know who's been pulling the strings for the Browns the last 4 or 5 years, to be perfectly honest. You had Paul DiBodesso there. You had Andrew Berry. I mean, you got Andrew Berry. You had Stefanski. I know Freddie Kitchen wasn't pulling any. Uh, the others, I have no clue. I know we have meetings. We discuss as position coaches how we saw things uh, with the Jared Wills deal. That came out of nowhere because that's not where we had him. We had tackle. That's
Hmm.
tackle right now. That's protecting Baker, Christian. So Andrew, in that situation, he or Paul, they made the call. They overrode Coach Callahan, and right now, that's a mistake.
Uh, Coach, as a position coach in the NFL, in previous drafts during your tenure with the Browns and the Jets and the Seahawks, did you want them to draft guys that played your position uh, per se over another need on the team? What were your thoughts over the years during the draft?
If my if a running back was better than guys that they thought we were going to take, if it wasn't necessarily a need, of course. I mean, I wanted them to draft Christian McCaffrey because I thought he was a heck of a player. I told the Cardinals that he would be 1,000 yard rusher and 1,000 yard receiver, and if he wasn't white, they would have him as the top back. To be perfectly honest,
Mhm.
I mean that's just how I spoke in meetings. I state my opinion. I don't make any calls, but I have a heartfelt feeling towards doing my work. When you're looking at all that film and you evaluating these players, at least you want to get your voice out and let it be heard.
Sapphire, I want to go to you. We touched on this in our group text. We got 2 days away. Do you see Andrew Berry? Obviously, we can give him credit for last year's draft. Russ talked about that during the year, as did people applauded him for that. I wasn't a huge fan based on the other body of work that he has, but uh, Miles Garrett, do you dangle that carrot in front of the Cowboys, other teams, Sapphire, to get, let's just say they get two number ones, or do you go the other route and keep him there? What are your thoughts?
I mean, again, as a fan, love Miles Garrett. He's to me been the face of the organization. And to answer your question, I dangle the carrot. I go shopping in the produce section of the grocery store and go to every single team and say, hey, what can we work out here? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Russ, given the two wide receivers, we got the kid out of USC, Makai Lemon. We got Jordan Tyson out of ASU, and then obviously Carnell Tate. Do you think it's solidified that they should go ahead and grab a receiver at number six, or do they go for something else and try to get a receiver later on with
You
that number
get
four
you
pick?
get Tate at six. He's the only receiver I would take at six. If Tate is off the board, I will look either trade down, or I don't know, best player there, maybe Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles. I would go best player there. If I can't trade down, I'm taking best player. I'm not going to reach on one of the tackles because I don't think the value is there. Um, but Tate, and after that, I would, if the best player is at 24 and maybe Omar Cooper is there, I would double down at wide receiver.
So you would get two wide receivers.
Yeah, I think it's a need there on the team.
So coach, go
Only I
back to
take that
you.
back. I take it back. Only reason I wouldn't is future salary cap reasons, because those guys will become extension eligible, or at the same time. So you kind of don't want to double down at the same position, salary cap reason wise. So that's, you can look at safety, you can look at corner there. You know what I mean? But that's where I would be at.
Coach, I want to ask you. Um, you always talked about, you thought the Browns should have drafted the DB wide receiver out of Colorado last year. It looks kind of looking like that would have made sense looking at where we're at now. Your crystal ball worked yet again, but should the Browns go for the best player in the draft? Do you go after the running back Love at number six, coach, if he's there? Or, we know the Browns plugged in some offensive linemen. We don't know how that's going to pan out, obviously, till they play. Uh, what would you do, coach, if you can make that decision? You go after the best player, you go after what you need.
I think you have to go after what you need. Now, Love is a special guy. Now he can do some things, but he as well has to have some offensive linemen to allow him the opportunity to get started. But I mean, he's your next uh, McCaffrey or Marshall Falk. Uh, you know, uh, he can be deployed from the backfield as a receiver. You don't have to take him out of the. He does a decent job of pass protection, so you don't have to take him out of the game. But I don't know if you want to go that route. I really think you want to be able to get somebody to protect the quarterback, and also you want to give the quarterbacks, whoever it turned out to be, a target. You know, other than what you have there right now. And I think Tate would be a great choice.
What would you
With
feel about the tight end from Oregon, Coach Kenyon Sadiq? What do you think about him if he were to, not at six, but maybe at 24, or a short trade up?
Yeah, definitely. Because in that system, well, you know what? But they just had a great tight end last year. So,
Yeah,
uh,
but the offense calls for a two tight
yeah,
end set. Yeah,
right. Uh,
and you let Njoku go, so you kind of have a hole for another playmaking tight end.
yeah, I just don't know if Todd is going to use a tight end that much for that pick. I think an offensive tackle or a wide receiver uh, might be best.
Mhm.
Let me ask you, Sapphire. Um, is there a sexy pick? Is there somebody like if you can just snap your fingers and control Andrew Barry's mind for about an
Oh,
hour?
okay, that's a stretch.
Who would you actually say deep in, this is the guy I would go for with both picks?
Okay, so for me, when I think about the O line, and I would agree, it's not like the strongest class we're going to see, but I would go deeper than like the top four picks. I would look at like a Blake Miller out of Clemson, 6'7", I think 317 pounds, 4 years experience there. And also, I'm a homer. He's a homer. I would look at players like that, not in the first round, but that's on the offensive side, the line. But curiously, when I was kind of just like clicking around, there was something about Denzel Washington that stood out to me, the wide receiver from
Boston,
Washington. Wasn't he from
Denzel
Washington?
Boston,
I'm
Denzel
sorry, I
Boston.
got it wrong. I got it wrong. Yes, Denzel Boston from Washington. And
Mhm.
he just seems like a really big, physical kind of player. When I was looking at strengths versus weaknesses, he seems know how to, manipulate the defenders, use his body. He's got great hands, on the underneath routes. Just real physical. Like he would really punish any back that would try to defend him. And when I think about what coach taught me over this last season, the value in really developing your pipeline of players, he just landed on me like the type of player that could really be coached up and fit into multiple different offensive schemes. So those would be my two, you know, I guess I would say fantasy picks to answer your question.
Let me go back to you, Russ. I noticed the offensive tackle out of Georgia, Monroe Freeling. The
Yes.
offensive tackle out of Alabama, Caden Proctor. Utah has a kid, Spencer Fano, who was high. For me personally, I'm so paranoid. I would actually draft two linemen because you can't without the line. We can't. You know, everything starts in the trenches. I have 8 linemen.
Double dip.
I'm a little having extreme behavior, but Russ, is there any other linemen you would like? Because we signed what 4 or 5 people,
Mhm.
somewhere around there,
Right.
and somebody gets hurt, we right back at square one, and we're going to get into our quarterback competition, which you got to be able to hike the ball and hand the
Exactly.
ball off, a la Stump Mitchell. So, what do you think, Russ?
I like Freeling and I like Blake Miller as well. I'm not, they're trying to sell Proctor as this super athletic, big, left tackle, but I saw him get beat consistently last season. I mean, he got beat up in the Florida State game. He got beat against Georgia. He got beat against Indiana. I mean, I so I'm good on him. Freeling, I didn't watch a lot of tape on. He does has the measurables. Did I think 17 starts at college. True left tackle. He's a project, but I'm not reaching that six for him because you don't know what you have yet. Maybe the offensive line coach, in the private workouts, maybe they see something with him. But I like the Max. I'm not familiar with his last name, but Arizona State, he has good size as well. So you can get good, I think, tackle value late first round, early second round. So
It's a
I think somebody
mouthful.
will be there. Yeah, somebody will be there.
You've been consistent on that, Russ. Coach Stump, I want to ask you about you know, obviously the first round, you're probably going to get a decent player. So obviously not every player works out and reaches their caliber. Coach, you were a 6th round pick, I believe, and
No, no, I was a ninth round pick.
No.
ninth round pick. Coach Stump Mitchell's a ninth round pick, and he's still here today with his, kicking butt. So, uh, Coach, you can probably provide some insight on this aspect. What would be the key to find players in the second, third, going through the later rounds? How do you find a quality player? Uh, you talked about peoples and picks like that have contributed. How do you scout a player like that? You just see the talent. What's your thought there?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you take a look, if they played enough and they got some good tape, then you take a look at it. You give them an opportunity. Uh, some guys go undrafted. I mean, right now it's only 6 rounds, 6 and 7,
7 rounds.
seven rounds. So, and then you have some extra picks at the end. But there's a lot of players out there. So you're going to find some late round guys. And really, those are the guys that give you the opportunity to establish your team.
Hmm.
You keep a guy like Terrence Johnson, who was productive for you. You keep a guy like Donovan People Jones, who was productive for you.
Mm.
Those guys, not only did they win games for you, but they would have allowed you to do other things with your roster, as opposed to, you getting somebody just because he's got speed. and then you in the third round, but you cut him because he don't really catch the ball all that well.
Got you. Coach, your sound went down a little bit. You might need to move closer to your microphone.
All right.
Uh, Sapphire, uh, any players or even if it's position needs, you think the Browns will be able to plug in and actually get a contribution, immediate contribution?
No, I don't. I think the Browns are in rebuild mode. You know, we talked about this near the end of last season. I'm not familiar with, Coach Munkin as a head coach. I've got mixed reviews about what I perceive to be the type of plays he called when he was the Baltimore Ravens OC. So I'm kind of like, this is the first year I feel extremely untethered, in terms of my finger being on the carotid artery, the pulse. It's just, and then add Andrew Berry on top of that. Like, gentlemen, I'm wondering if he's gonna trade that number 6 overall pick. I mean, that's in my mind. So this is probably one of the most difficult NFL drafts for me ever in my entire life watching the Browns.
Russ, you're having a draft party. I might attend, depending on the food you're bringing. Um,
We have some good wings, some good
some
wings,
wings.
some sandwiches probably. Yeah.
Wings might bring
Bring
me
your
up
bring your
there.
own bring your own poisons.
Oh no, no, I'm sober. So, well, I want to ask you, Russ. Do you see any surprises? I think you, out of our panel and coach, you've been as kind of a stout supporter and belief in Andrew Berry. I don't believe in him. I told you I wouldn't let him hold my car keys, and I'm kind of seeing it differently. So we'll let that play out. But Russ, do you anticipate any surprises? Will they move the pick? You see any overnight moves being made, or do you think Barry's going to follow this draft up with last year's draft? Now that the other guy's going Deepa Testa.
Look, yeah, oh, yeah. Look for him to make similar moves to last year's draft. Last year's draft, he traded away the sixth and seventh round picks, so all those were gone. All picks were made in the first 5 rounds. I think Andrew Berry gets a bad rap because a lot of the influence on his picks were made from analytics by DePodesta. So when you look at his totality of work over the seasons, people put the Deshaun Watson, trade on him, but that was kind of steered by ownership, and that uh, basically he gave up 3 first round picks, 2 third round picks, and a second round pick in that trade. So a lot of those drafts over those 3 seasons, he was kind of throwing, darts in the dark, basically trying to get players at value positions, rebuilding the team. Had Watson panned out, it would have made up for a lot of those missed draft picks. You know what I'm saying? His quarterback leadership was supposed to lift the team up. So by him not only playing 17 games and 4 seasons or whatever, it makes it look, it's obviously the worst trade ever. But I think Barry gets a bad rap for that. Look for him to bounce back. I think again with a good draft this year, 9 draft picks, he will probably trade a player and shuffle some of those draft picks around. Um, there's good value at wide receiver. I think second, third, and fourth rounds. So I would definitely get a wide receiver take early. You can get another receiver, third, fourth round. You can get a tight end, third, fourth round. It's some guards and some tackles. I think development wise, you can get in those middle rounds as well. Barry likes cornerbacks, so he might use first, second round, late first round, early second round pick on a corner. Because as coach stated, we always need help at corner. Those guys go down, and you need it.
So Russ, if Caleb Downs is there at 6, do you pass on him?
Ooh.
Do the Browns
If
pass on Caleb Downs?
only if it's Tate or Downs for me. If Tate is there, I take Tate. If Tate is gone, I take Downs. It's real that
Who would you
simple.
take between the two?
Tate first. You got to have a playmaker. You know what I'm saying? Tate moves the sticks. He catches the ball. He gets open. He'll be the blanket for whichever quarterback. You know what I'm saying? He'll move the sticks. He'll get first downs.
Coach Stump, I want to ask you: do you think Andrew Berry was a little bit handcuffed by the executive order with D. Podesta and ownership? Obviously, last year looks like he had his fingerprints on that draft. Do you give him a pass for the prior drafts, being that he had to kind of stay in his role and didn't have the head say so?
No, I don't give him a pass. I mean, when you get guys like Case Keenum, Dearness Johnson, uh, you know, Donovan, those guys can make you. And it doesn't take much to keep them on your team and also to keep the team a success. He was a guy spearheading the draft to let that offensive line be as disastrous as it was last year uh, is a tragedy, and that's left up to him. He's out there every day watching practice for the most part, so he's seen those guys getting old. He see how hard uh, Coach Callahan, Scott Peters, John DeCosta, those guys work to get the most from those guys. But at some point in time, age is going to catch up with you, especially with some of the type of football that we were playing in the division that you're playing in. So Andrew allowed that to happen. He don't get a pass for that, not from
Do you
me.
think, hey, Coach, do you think they aged a little bit prematurely with Conklin and Teller? I think he had a plan that I got a 3 or 4 year window with these guys, and when they all start breaking down at the same time, he figured, okay, I'll just flush them at the same time.
But see, the deal is that uh, when Jack got hurt, both times it was because of Tiller. I mean,
Hmm.
he threw his guy into his leg both times. He had some bad techniques there, and Coach
Yeah.
Callahan discussed those things with management, and they still decide to give him a huge extension. Okay, uh, so Andrew, when you got a Bill Callahan, and he's telling you everything about a person and think what he thinks should happen to that individual. I think you take a look at what he says and give it a lot of consideration before you just go out and do things. This is a guy that has been successful pretty much every place he's been as a coach, and he's been in it. So
Hmm.
take a back seat, uh, and listen to him.
Okay.
Coach,
I had a before you go, yes, I had a source I talked to over the weekend um, from a division opponent, and he said Monken would do a great job, and the offensive coordinator is a rising star.
Oh
So
no,
I
no,
have,
I totally agree. Todd would do an excellent job. He would have done an excellent job when we were there the first time. Had Freddie just allowed him to handle Baker and those guys.
yeah,
But it was Freddie's first time. He had a little more input with the quarterbacks than Todd. Even though Todd was the OC, Freddie was calling the plays, and Baker would come in and interrupt a staff meeting and get Freddie out, and some of the stuff that we put on the board was erased, and unfortunately, it cost us some games. It cost Freddie his job, but Todd went on and he was successful at Georgia. He's been successful at you know the rivalry, the Ravens, and I think he's going to do a hell of a job there with the Browns because he knows what it takes in order to be successful.
Coach, you brought up a point, and we had touched on this throughout our podcast throughout the year, last football season. And Russ, you mentioned that Deshaun Watson kind of didn't work out, and I don't. It would took Superman. Coach talked about the line aging and the report card on Andrew Berry, the mismanagement of personnel, not just the players but coaches, right? Which in some arenas with malpractice, negligence. Give us another one of them big words you use, Sapphire. But somewhere along those lines, Russ, uh, Coach, I want to stick to that real quick. So one of the big things we're talking about this draft and draft needs. Again, I'm picking two linemen in the first with my
There
first
you
pick
go. There you go.
because The one thing that nobody has touched on, we got number four back there. We got, was it number two now, Russ?
Number two,
You know,
right?
we got the legend who hasn't done much yet, but he's a legend. Let him tell it. So I want to talk about that, Coach. I'm gonna let you take the lead on this. We got to keep our quarterback upright. Shador likes to hold the ball, so he's going to need a whole another half a second more than Watson. So at this point, the quarterback competition. What are your thoughts there?
I think Deshaun is going to win out. I think Deshaun have less flaws and is more athletic than Shador, and I think both of them throw great balls. Uh, so I think it's going to be a competition, but I think Deshaun, he's done that before. He's led the league in passing. You know, he had a D Hop. You give him a tape, and now you got something strong there. And ain't no question in my mind. I'm sure Deshaun is preparing. I'm sure Shador is preparing as well. But the greatest thing for those guys now is that they have Todd Monken, and he's a no nonsense guy. You know, he wants to win. Uh, he want to retire from Cleveland, and that being his only head job for 15 years, and have had won 3 or 4 Super Bowls. And I just think his leadership and guys that they have, and of course they're going to rebuild that offensive line and defense as well. But I think right now, with everything in the division, I think they stand a chance of winning that division. And if you win that division, you got your home game. You just never know what goes on after that. And I think they're going to be pretty successful this upcoming season.
Sapphire, I think we are in the state as Browns fans. That's why I appreciate Russ, because Russ is so positive, and I'm trying to let it rub off on me. But it's, I just ain't, I'm just not, I'm not seeing it. But Sapphire, I think we've been dumbed down and we've been used to just, mediocrity for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, as Coach said, we love the Callahans and the Stump Mitchells of the world. We'll even throw AVP in there. We'll throw Nick Chubb in there. We throw Amari Cooper in there. We have this creme of the creme in their respective crafts, and they came and they walked out, let them walk right out the door without maximizing that asset, right? And so, Sapphire, are we just selling? Are we too redundant and happy just with mediocrity to stomp out? I respect you, but there's no way the Browns are winning that division. I'm not seeing that. We'll revisit this conversation as well. But Sapphire, what are your thoughts on what's going to happen with the quarterback position and the division?
Okay, so I'm right there with you. You're not the only one in the family that has that view of the Browns. I can't even fantasize about them having a winning season this year, or even making or winning, I should say, the division. I can't get there. I think a lot of what they've done in the offseason is a positive, with the acquisitions, the offseason acquisitions. And I also think it's patchwork. And I go back to, again, Coach Stump emphasizing the value of developing, cultivating your pipeline. I don't care who is back there behind center. If the Browns do not give the quarterback enough time to even look up from the line of scrimmage, it won't matter. It won't matter. So, I mean, for me, it's all about the offensive line, like you just said, and I agree. I would double dip on offensive linemen, and look to the later rounds to garnish with the wide receivers or the secondary, unless Russ, Caleb Downs is available. It's not even a question of tape for me. If Downs is available, you, for me, absolutely take him. So that's kind of what I'm feeling.
I'm a huge Downs fan, Russ. I don't think you pass. I think Caleb Downs is a 10-year guy, a
Absolutely.
stud,
Both of
and
them are.
and
Both of
we
them
we
are.
we have some family connections to take. So we hope he comes to Cleveland, so we
Nice.
can kind of hang out with the kid and be a fan of his. Russ, at this point right now, are you comfortable with Deshaun Watson or Shador behind center with the way our line is constructed right now as of today?
Yeah, I think you guys are being very pessimistic about the offensive line. I
We
don't
definitely are.
understand it.
We're
We
pessimistic.
replaced all the damaged goods. You know, we upgraded. You know what I mean? So he upgraded, and where the Browns stand at roster wise on the offensive line, there's not there may be two guys who could come in and start that you draft. Other than that, look for Dewan Jones to bounce back. I know Coach has his issues with Dewan, but look, watch out for him at left tackle.
Oh boy.
We traded and got the Titus Howard. He'll play right tackle. We got Elton Jenkins. He'll play center or guard. We got Zion Johnson. So we have a set offensive line right now. Those guys just need to come together. It comes back to coaching. I think Stefanski did a horrible job. Decision making, coaching, holding guys accountable. When you look at our record the last 2 years and definitely the last season, we have talent. We just didn't. We had an offensive line that broke down and they couldn't block anybody. So if you have just some consistency at the offensive line, some better play calling and decision making, we could have won 10 games last year, easy.
So you're confident that Dewan Jones has found
Yeah.
himself and is going to be able to hold down the left side of our offensive line?
Yes, when you look at his injuries he's had, they were fluky injuries. There wasn't just like him weighing too much and breaking down. He had fluke injuries. He got speared last year by the safety from the Green Bay. You know what I mean? And so I think he can hold it down.
Coach, do you feel like he was in football shape?
Coach,
No,
what's your
That's
no.
what I'm saying.
But I've seen him lately, pictures of him. I've seen pictures of him, and he doesn't look like the same guy.
Hmm.
Whether he
He,
worked that
he got
off
it together.
shots or whatever the case may be, he's looks like he's down to football playing weight. I mean, he's got long arms. He's huge, but I think those guys that they brought in, some of those guys have a relationship with Coach Warhawk. Uh, it's not going to be a piece of cake for Dewan. He's going to have to bust his butt. They're going to hold him accountable. Okay,
Yep.
and if he loved the game of football and he know he can make a lot of money because he hadn't made any money yet,
Hmm.
you
Nope.
know, he's still young, and he can make a heck of a lot of money if he makes up his mind he wants to be what everybody else wants him to be.
Yeah. Just
Coach,
as
can
an
I can I
average
can I
starter, he could make 20 to 25 million a year. So
Okay,
Yeah,
but gentlemen, before we get there, and coach, this is a question I have for you in particular. As a fan, when I look at players that have similar track history as Dewan, he's going to be in his contract year, right, gentlemen? Right? It
yes.
feels disingenuous, right? You've had what, almost 4 years now to demonstrate that your level of commitment, right? Your ability to be malleable, to coaching, and it's just now we're here. Now we're here. And it's just I'm curious to understand from you, besides the weight loss, what specifically you would be looking to see in him to give you more comfort, right? In him as a player moving forward.
his play on the field. I mean, that speaks volumes. His play on the field, his actions in the meeting rooms. But we can't put all failure on players. You just can't do that. You can't do that. I mean, sometimes the systems are soft. They're ran soft. And there was instances in Cleveland where the system was soft. I mean, the Haslams give these guys everything they need in order to be successful. I mean, it's a spa around there. Uh,
Wow.
Athletically, everything they can dream of to protect to get their body ready to play football. The Haslams provide for them. Okay, but leadership wasn't great. Stefanski wasn't great. I mean, Andrew Berry wasn't great. So some guys they take advantage of it, and that's simply what Dewan did. He took advantage of it. I mean, they allowed him to do whatever he wanted to do, and he didn't want to do much. Which was totally different from Coach Callahan. Okay,
Okay.
I think one thing, and Russ, I want to put this perspective.
Hmm.
Jones is a half-ass year away from being a bust, right? Based on his projections. So we got to look at that as well. You can talk about the upside, and
Yeah.
him getting 25 million to me is almost, as Sapphire said, there ain't 25 million worth of body of work there,
Well,
right?
he would have to put together a great year in order to get
Exactly.
that. He would
He,
have to do that. He gotta work. He gonna have to
he
put in
put
some
together,
work.
he put together a great year. He's a starting left tackle for the division champions and at least 2 rounds in the playoffs. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's
He,
25 million.
he would he would get command a lot of money at
And
left.
don't forget, Ro. I think he was a fourth round pick, so he's not a bust. He was kind of a, you know
Well,
what I mean.
they had high.
He actually dropped in the draft because of, I think they didn't think he would be that motivated to play. So
Well, that panned out.
Yeah, they were right.
Yeah, I think he has I don't know. I don't even remember Pigpen from Charlie Brown. He has a dirty blanket attached to him. Yeah, he just can't seem to get away from. I just, based on our history and what we've seen, and also I want to ask you guys, Coach. You look at some of the other moves that have been made. I think it was the Bengals that got the guy from the Giants. Again,
Lawrence.
sexy
Jones is going to
Bex.
be facing some dogs this year, Coach. Like he's not going to have
Hmm.
a Sunday off. That's why I'm projecting that it's going to be another tough year from here because I haven't seen him perform at a high level consistently, and look at who he's facing week in and week out. Coach.
Well, you rewind that. So Dexter is the interior. There's really no other outside rushers in our division that really scare you.
Hendrickson.
He's kind of in the wash.
He's a Hendrickson is a now he will give Dewan the business because the thing about Hendrickson, his motor never stops. That's why he and Hubbard together, both of those guys, motor never stop. They
Yeah, but
constantly.
that was 2 3 years ago,
Yeah,
Henderson.
yeah, but
I
I'm
think it's
yeah, but the thing about Henderson, he didn't play last year. I don't know if he was all that injured. I don't know.
yeah.
He didn't like the situation in Cincinnati, so he got a fresh year. He got paid, but
Hmm.
uh, he's gonna keep after you. That's the thing about Hendrickson and Hubbard that made them special. It was going to be tough because if you slack up, they're getting to the quarterback.
Yeah, he gets those garbage sacks from just like you keep that
Hustle.
motor going. Yep, the hustles.
I
I
do want
expect
to say,
him to be in tip top shape this season.
oh,
I expect to
one.
see a complete body transformation. He's going to be ready to play because I don't think his head was even in the game last year. Because to Coach's point, he was not pleased with Cincinnati.
I
How
want to
you
say
think
hello to
Dexter Lawrence
Jim.
gonna feel after a year in Cincinnati?
Well, didn't they just sign him to a year extension though?
Yeah, but nobody likes their facilities when they get there. They don't,
You talking about
you know.
Cincinnati?
Hmm.
Yeah,
I want to say hello to Jen Victoria. She's giving us some great feedback tonight. Our other guy, George Mallory, we appreciate you for always tuning in. Joe Holett, how you doing? If I could get George and Jen and Joe to be our GM, we'd probably be all right. I'm looking at some of their comments, and it's
right.
funny, Coach. We you can't trick us, Cleveland fans. We watch the game,
Hmm.
study it. We love our sports here, and the verdict is out. And the other thing on Russ and even Coach, I want to bring this out there, Coach. You just mentioned not get putting all the blame on the players, and so the one thing I don't think we've thought about or talked about is you look at the brass, look at ownership. If we got to go down a checklist, we're not one, two, or three, any of those. I mean, I like Mr. Haslam. I think he's awesome. But we're talking
Hmm.
about our GMs and our executives. We are not the best in our divisions in those departments, right? Pittsburgh has the new coach who has some experience. I believe he's been to a Super Bowl. And in
Or
Cincinnati staff, they had some continuity. They had a tough year last year. Burrow got hurt. They had a terrible defense. But, if you really want to roll the dice, can we really say Tom Munkin and his staff is going to move? Are they the best coaching staff in AFC North? We don't know.
we
Possibly.
don't know. Yeah, we don't
What do you
know.
think, Coach Dump?
Well, I think offensively, those guys work together for the most part. He's got a lot of guys that he worked with on the offensive side of the ball. So yeah, I think they're the best staff because we still have the same defensive staff. Unfortunately, Coach Schwartz, who I really wish would have been there, is not there. But I think those guys are going to hit the ground running for the most part. I just think I got all the respect for Todd Monken and how hard he worked when I was there with him in every phase of getting guys doing the right thing, from the offensive linemen to the wide receivers to the running backs to the quarterbacks. Everybody was on the same page when you're talking about drills to prepare for a game. And when we didn't do those things right, it usually cost us. But me as a coach, I'm like, wow, that should not have happened because we went over this drill. Had we taken this drill seriously, that
Mm.
never would have happened. This would have been a completion. The ball wouldn't have been out of bounds because the receiver didn't hold the red line like we always talk about. So all those things were covered, and Todd was just the offensive coordinator at that particular point in time. But he made sure we covered every little thing.
So what's
So
that
word
gap?
on.
I'm sorry, Russ. What's the gap,
Go ahead.
Coach? I really want to lean into you because I'm in quite a kerfuffle. I've never been so uncomfortable going into a draft as I am this year. You talked about how things should not have happened, right? What is it between practice and then real in-game situations that makes the difference? Like what is that? What are the players not doing? What is happening that they're not translating what they're demonstrating on the practice field in the game?
Well, I can tell you right now, Todd Monken can care less if those guys are his friends. That's not what he's trying to do. He's there to coach them. And sometimes to get guys better, you have to push them to places where they don't want to be pushed. Or you have to let them allow, you have to let that backup, hopefully that backup wants to be a starter as well. So now you can let that guy gravitate to the bench. Sometimes money won't allow that to happen, but I don't think they're in a situation like that right now. So I think those guys are going to come out and they're going to bust their butt, and I think they're going to be successful because they have one hell of a leader in Todd Monkey.
Coach, I want to stick to that real quick. You talk about leadership. We've gotten to know you quite well personally from working with you. We know you are the type of guy you are, straightforward, transparent, and that big word that we run from is the accountability piece, right? So, Coach, I want to ask you. You spoke highly of Haslam, and I think most people love Haslam because at least he puts his money out there. He's trying to, as an owner, he didn't hold on to the money. You gotta give him that. He paid Watson the money. When Watson came here, everyone was ecstatic. Nobody knew that it was going to turn out the way it did. But Coach, I want to ask you: does the culture of the organization come down from ownership? Because the one thing we can say, and this is the most frustrating thing about Kevin Stefanski. I hope he never comes back to Cleveland ever. But there was no accountability, it seems to me. So does that come from ownership, or do you expect that to skip all the executives and go right down to the coach to establish some accountability?
No, that doesn't come from ownership. I mean, Mr. Haslam uh, and his son-in-law, they were in the facility working out sometimes 5:30 in the morning, just like I was when I was rehabbing. You don't see owners too often, I think, working out, doing the things that they need to do to be physically fit and in shape in order to handle the business aspects of what they're doing. That's a lot of pressure in itself, decision making. So I mean, to be able to come in there 3 times a week or so and take care of your physical health and and you know give the players everything they need, but you trying to do everything you can in order to give the fans everything they need. I think the Haslam's did a hell of a job. I think Stefanski did a terrible job at the end of the day.
But,
S
yeah,
I
Ro
got.
go
I
ahead.
Ro,
got
just
one.
for you, Ro, newsflash, I think the AFC North is playing the NFC South this season,
Oh
so,
yeah, yeah. We see
yeah,
Stefanski. Yeah.
yeah, just saying. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say his
Word on
name
it.
anymore. Yeah.
Word on the street, coach, is that Todd Monken wants Carnell Tate. You think they'll let him get his pick, first round pick in this draft?
That I don't know. Todd is happy to have that job. I mean, he's 60 years old and it's his first head job. So he's not going to ruffle no feathers. But what he is going to do is make his point made as to who he would like. And he's going to let them know how he see this team and how he see it going in order for them to be able to obtain the best they could possibly have this season.
And see, that would be a good indication that there's been a cultural shift with this organization. You hired the man, let him do his job. Okay. We tried the other experiment over the last handful of years that it didn't work. Why not, Mr. Barry, just leave Mr. Munkin alone to make the picks he feels are the best to fit into his system?
Russ, I want to ask you this. Going back to the draft, I hope the Browns get Caleb Downs and the offensive lineman. I wouldn't even draft a wide receiver because if you can't stand up in the pocket, you're not going to be able to throw to Jerry Rice, right? But Russ, I want to ask you this: is Andrew Berry on the hot seat? Does he have to nail this draft and have a quality year and get us to the playoffs in order to uh, essentially keep his job?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he managed the salary cap well enough. And I think he'll do well enough in this draft. It'll buy him another year or two.
As I said before, Russell Johnson is he can like the end of the Scooby Doo episode. He gonna pull off his mask. And this is Andrew Berry the whole time. Coach Stump, does Andrew Berry have to deliver this draft and get us to the playoffs to keep his position? Do
I
you
think
think?
he's already delivered when he delivered Todd Monken and the guys that Todd brought with him. And the only thing I would have loved to have seen him do, just like they made Deshaun the first, fully guaranteed deal, I would have loved for him to be creative and have two dang on head coaches. It's going to happen at some point in time in the league. And I really thought uh, Coach Schwartz deserved the opportunity, a second opportunity to be a head coach and to be the head coach there in Cleveland. But for the quarterback situation in the offense, I also thought Todd Monken was the best thing for them, especially for Deshaun, because Deshaun is talented as crap. I mean, you're talking about a guy that led the league, so you can't say that you took a shot and you missed. No, you didn't. You could say that about a guy coming out of college, but you can't say that about a young guy that was in the NFL that led the dang on team uh, to 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 the playoffs, and also he led the league in passing. So uh, you know, you get parts around him that helped him do that, and you had a couple of opportunities to get D Hop, and he never did it. So right now, he did well with Donovan Peoples Jones, and hopefully Tate will be a part to add to that passing group.
One thing,
Sapphire.
one thing about one
What?
thing about D Hop. I don't mean to cut you off, Ro.
That's a go ahead.
Uh, that player acquisition is a two-way street when you're dealing with free agents. So he might not have wanted to come to Cleveland. You know what I mean? He might have tried, which I'm sure he puts the fillers out there. But that's a two-way street.
Yeah, well, I don't. We never even brought his name up.
Hmm.
Usually they bring guys' name up, receivers or whatever, and his name was never brought up.
Mm.
Sapphire, I've decided you and we're gonna work on getting us a sponsorship from Tums because we're gonna have stomach aches. My stomach is hurting already thinking of all the stuff we're talking about.
I'm right there with you.
So many ands, buts, and ifs, and hope, and I'm more of a guy. I like to go with what I know I can count on. I don't like to I'm a man of faith and all that, but I have to. Some things just got to stick, and that I know I can count on when I wake up. I know I can count on Coach Stump to be Coach Stump every morning I wake up. That's not ever gonna change, and I can work from there. But except for uh, given the state we're at right now, as a fan going to watch the games,
Mhm.
what would satisfy you as a fan just to have an enjoyable experience as a fan?
I mean, the team to be competitive, right? And there's for me, there's a big question mark. I mean, look, we had the drama all of last season, right? The anticipation, the buildup. We were looking forward to next year, like halfway through the season, right? So we have a new head coach, and for me, I can appreciate why the Haslams kept AB because they probably didn't want to go through vetting both a general manager and a head coach. By the skin of his chinny chin chin, pure speculation on my part, I thought Andrew Berry should have hopped on the same flight out of town as the former head coach, right? So, more competitive, and it would be really great to get a clear message that Todd Monken is the captain of the ship. As important as analytics are, every business uses them. You still have to have that leader that has a intuitive feel for the game, like a coach Stump, right? That based on the God-given gifts they've been given, their experience on all levels as a player, as a coach, be able to identify even raw talent, right? Players that they can coach, they identify those strengths, they minimize their weaknesses. I would love to see Todd Monken really, because he's not a communicator, right? But I'd love to see him grab the reins and say, "No, this is my team." I mean, I like pull it out. This is my team. This is what we're doing. This is why I made these picks. Yes, I'm working in combination with the organization and I get the culture. I get the fandom. I know what the expectations are. I would really want him to lean into that. Okay? Cuz these tickets aren't getting any less expensive, gentlemen.
Yeah, he can't
Coach,
do that. I mean, he's happy and he's fortunate to be the head coach of the Browns. He's not going to tell Andrew who to pick. I mean, he will definitely say the direction in which they think the team may go, but that's all he's going to do. He's going to voice his opinion, and at the end of the day, Andrew is going to pick whoever he wants to pick.
Fascinating.
I want to kind of get into our final thoughts. Coach, I want to ask you, Coach Stump, you plan on watching the draft? Are you going to just tune in to it? Or, I know you got a lot going on at the Citadel and getting those players ready for spring and the summer. Will you have time to watch the draft?
Yeah, I'm going to watch some of it, but what I really, 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 really wish would happen because of the injury last year to the running back. I wish they would bring Nick Chubb back.
Oh,
Because
yes.
they still need a running back.
Yes.
And you can get Nick. This is a value pick. You can get Nick probably for a little anything, Russ. Wouldn't you say? And I mean,
Uh,
he can come back if you want to go the other route, saying
for
that.
the sake of the fans, I mean, give him 5 million, whatever the veterans, a veterans fair, what I'm saying, contract.
Yeah,
I would do it.
but you'll have a productive player. He did
Hmm.
he did well last year uh,
Yeah,
with the Texans.
yeah,
I mean, he had a better average than Junkin,
yeah. He
and
did.
he had a better average than the guy that they replaced him with in uh, Houston. And they didn't have the best line either.
Mhm.
So there's no question. I think you save money by bringing a player that's a workaholic. Okay, he sets the standard in that field,
Yeah.
but also he's going to be productive for you.
Coach,
How
I
did
want
how
to.
did you one question for Coach real quick? How did you feel about Nick Chubb as a blocker?
I thought he did well. I thought he did well. We didn't have that many opportunities really for the backs to block. But when called upon, I thought he did extremely well.
Okay,
Coach.
I saw something where they downgraded his pass protection, like he wasn't that well, and I never saw that, but
Well, I don't know how they taught him in Houston. If that's who downgraded his pass protection.
No, this was like in his time in Cleveland. They
Oh
said
no,
his
no.
pass
There's
protection wasn't good. I didn't see it personally with
that's
my eyes, but
no, no, no. That's not true. I can remember one time where Nick ended up because the quarterback was on the center. They blitzed the backer, and Nick had to try to get around the center. I mean, around the quarterback. He threw his body to try to cut the guy, and the guy may have gotten a piece of the quarterback. But you're not going to see a whole lot of video during Nick playing time, either before I got there as his coach or after I got there as his coach, where he didn't pass block pretty dang on well. So now that's someone blowing smoke when they said his pass protection wasn't good.
yeah,
And coach, I have to say it under Coach Stump's tutelage, things are forward. You look at the production; it was just a little different, but I'm biased, but it's also a fact. Um, Russ, give us your final thoughts on the draft. Give us your positive outlook on the lay of the land.
I would like I said before, let's go wide receiver early. A couple offensive linemen. I think we probably would need, out of 9 picks, if we hold on to 9 or 8 picks, wherever we look at, draft 2 or 3 linemen, a tackle, guard, or center. I wouldn't double up in around or on a specific position for roster flexibility and cap reasons. So you want to be flexible. Probably need a safety, a corner, and a pass rusher and a tight end. So you can, break down in those positions: wide receiver, safety, corner, guard, tackle, center, tight end. That gets you about 8 picks, and maybe I don't know. It'd be nice to bring back Chubb. If not, maybe throw another running back in the mix.
So just for the record, you guys, they have pick number 6, 24. The second round, they have pick number 39. Third round, pick number 70. Fourth round, pick number 107. Fifth round, pick 146. So I don't know how much value you get, as you get into the fifth or sixth round and seventh round. Sapphire, uh, where are you watching the draft, and how do you feel about what's going to actually happen?
I am probably going to watch the entire draft by myself because I am that emotionally involved and I would not want anyone to be around me. Um, and I mean, I just want to go back to something real quick that Coach said. I'm down with Chubb, and in light of, I think it was Howard and Jenkins, in terms of their pass block ranking, they're like in the top 10. So I don't think that Nick Chubb would have to really do like heavy lifting in that aspect. I would love to see him come back here. I think gold standard, like Coach said. So yes, by myself, I want to double dip on the tackles, gentlemen, unless Caleb Downs is available. So if you could make that happen, I would appreciate it.
Coach, we're going to let you close out. For me, I'm going Caleb Downs, and then I'm going two offensive tackles. The wide receiver, Coach always talks about the diva and this and that. I just think you can go find a receiver. I want to protect the line and give our quarterbacks a chance. Uh, we have our quarterback situation is not solid right now, so I would like to make them as comfortable as possible. And again, you can throw to anybody. You got to be able to stand up. You got to be able to see your lanes. For me, so again, I'm a plain Jane type of guy. But I also have a prediction. I believe Andrew Berry has got a trick up his sleeve. I don't think it's going to be a reach, but I think he's going to grab a Downs or somebody that's going to stick. Because if you can stop the other team, and that kind of eases up our need to score as well. You just said we needed a cornerback, Russ. I know Ward is there. Mr. 12 played 12 games a year. Um, but Coach Stump, uh, in culmination of everything we've talked about, what would you like to see happen I know you still have a adulation and respect for the Browns organization. You've always talked about wanting them to win. You're a huge Tom Monken guy. You've been an advocate of his and been a fan, spoke positively about him as well. What would you like to see happen through the first round, second round?
Well, I think if you have the sixth pick and there's a couple guys that you really like, if you know the teams behind you, it not going to take both of those guys, then you stand the opportunity to make a trade and get some more picks. But you don't want your top two guys to be gone and you don't make a pick. So I think you have to think of it that way as well. But right now, I think they need a offensive lineman, but they brought in a bunch of offensive linemen. So they think these guys are better than what they had, and they can hold the fort down. Now you got to give quarterback a weapon and a receiver. You just got to do that, in my opinion. And of course, they're not going to get love, so you can pass on the back for now. But you need offensive linemen and you need receivers, and always. Andrew's been there for a while. There's always been injury to the secondary. So you cannot close your eyes to the fact that this is what happened. He cannot allow it to get old like he did with that offensive line under his tutelage.
I want to tell our fans and those watching, we will return next Tuesday to talk about the follow-up. I'm sure we'll have some great content and storylines there, and our guy Russ will kind of give us some insight on our picks. So I want to welcome everybody back again. We want to say good luck to our guy Dre Donovan. His fight is Thursday, April 23rd. Is at 4 a.m. in the morning. He's fighting in Australia against a former champion. What's his name? Jason Malini. So Sugar Dre Donovan, don't get on that plane without that belt. We'll be waiting for you at Shenanigans. Want to welcome everybody and say thank you to everybody. I'm at Stump Talk Podcast, Running Back University, Sapphire Russ Rowe, and the great Stump Mitchell. Thank you everyone for joining.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
You are putting in the work, but are college coaches actually seeing you? Recruit Runner turns your talent into a digital recruiting profile coaches can find instantly. Add your highlights, link your social media, upload stats, transcripts, photos, and camps. Now, coaches searching your position and state can discover you in seconds. And the cost? Less than a fast food meal. $7.99 a month, $59.99 for a full year.
What's up, man? Did you hear from them? Yeah, Western State just messaged me.
Recruiting is not about luck anymore. It is about visibility. Recruit Runner, run your recruitment.
Ninth round pick out of the Citadel in 1981. Stump carved out accessible